Hi, and welcome back to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chris Gorski.
Today is September 12th. We're on page 35 in your magazines, and today we're going to hear part 2 of the article that Chris and I started yesterday entitled Discover Taoyuan from City Buzz to Ancient Charm. Now, if you're not sure what that means, please go back and listen to yesterday's lesson, and we explain it there.
I really had fun yesterday because I remember thinking, Taoyuan, what am I really going to say? I don't really know a lot about Taoyuan. And then we ended up going overtime because we had so much to say.
It was a lot of fun, actually.
Isn't there something about the communication part of it that makes it really interesting? I hope you guys could really hear, we were going way too long because we were having a lot of fun talking about this. And I hope that came through, although we'll try to respect your time a little better today.
Oh, right. Yes. But actually, Wesley and I had just been discussing it, and we discussed some of it on the air when we were recording. So we had an article about not allowing AI to take over our lives. And the whole approach was that somebody from 100 years from now is sending a warning to us now that if we let AI take over too much of our lives, we're going to lose our own ability to think, and we're not going to even trust ourselves anymore. So the article is warning us not to do that. And I said that actually I'm always kind of writing a science fiction novel in my head about the near future when, first of all, I have to give some background. As soon as I see something that I can see was written by AI, I just don't want to read it. I don't read it. I can't stand it. So the story that I'm writing in my head is that very soon we all agree we are sick and tired of AI. We just decide to pack it away and go back to interacting in person whenever we can. Another part of the story was a friend of mine was just leaving Taiwan, so I arranged a meetup with Wesley and the friend and myself, and we had a really wonderful conversation. And Wesley made the comment that, whenever you're meeting with people in person, you can feel an aura. And it's totally different from what you feel when you write or even when you talk online with something like FaceTime or whatever it is. You can see them in a video chat. But it's not like when you're sitting there at a table in a coffee shop drinking your coffee and then interacting in a really lively way.
You're exactly right. That the interaction, the discussion, the interplay between individuals and your own perspectives gives you more than maybe initially that appears there. It's about Zhongli. There's a cultural background that's interesting and all that. But I think hearing about each other's backgrounds relating to this information helps make it very concrete and real to me. I am 100% with you that there's a real intimacy and I don't mean that like in a romantic sense, an intimacy between people that when you're together that you can actually share ideas in a very genuine way that you don't get necessarily from your computer screen or even phone
chats,
conversations. Yeah, I agree.
And you're talking exactly about what Wesley was calling, or I called, an aura. There's an aura, and that kind of has its own existence that makes the whole thing kind of sparkle.
Or to borrow the word you used yesterday, your vibes, right? Your vibes really get set by being in person.
And this isn't the first time it's happened. We've often come to the studio with a text that it's fine, but we think, I don't know if I have much to say about that. And then we couldn't stop. Yeah. So that happened yesterday, very unexpectedly. So we're going to continue with that today. Okay, paragraph 1. While districts like Zhongli represent the modern face of Taoyuan, it's Daxi, the city's earliest developed area, where the story truly begins.
Daxi's early prosperity came from its prime spot on the Dahan River. In earlier times, small sailboats regularly sailed the Dahan River towards Danshui, turning the river into a major trade route. Plenty of merchants flocked to this area to engage in commerce. Their establishments boasted a distinctive look that combined European Baroque style with traditional Minnan lucky symbols like fish or bats. Some of these buildings still stand today as beautiful, tangible testaments to that rich past.
Just as the Dahan River's waters fueled the economy, the local spring water is the secret to the deliciousness of Daxi's dried tofu. With Daxi's exceptionally clean, soft, underground spring water, the delicacy turns out wonderfully tender with a satisfying springy texture, which makes it one of Taiwan's most beloved local snacks.
What many don't realize is that this area is Taiwan's largest Chinese leek farming region. The sandy, well-draining soil here is simply perfect for growing the plant. As September arrives, Daxi's fields are blanketed in white, blooming Chinese leek flowers, creating a stunning display known as September snow.
Whether stepping back in time in Daxi or exploring the lively streets of Zhongli or Taoyuan districts, visitors to Taoyuan embark on a journey that spans its past and present. Now, I'm more aware of that now. I did know some of it because, like I said, I made a random trip to the old street in Taoyuan, so I did know that side of it. But there's a lot of other stuff I didn't know. So bringing it together, I found really interesting. These two different personalities now are really part of the same unity. So back to the beginning. While districts like Zhongli represent the modern face of Taoyuan, it's Daxi, the city's earliest developed area, where the story truly begins.
So pay attention to the word truly. This is one that my students frequently misspell. They see the word, there's true in here, T-R-U-E. Don't forget to drop that E before adding L-Y. That's a super tricky one. And I'm not going to lie, I sometimes misspell this too. I always catch myself and scratch it out.
So watch that. If there is an E or not, you need to get the spelling right. However, if you forget, and if you're typing on your computer or your device, whatever, it will tell you you've spelled it wrong. It will usually underline it in red, or it will autocorrect. You'll automatically correct it. My experience is a lot of my students ignore those signals that you've done it wrong.
Really?
Yes, especially if they're using Word. If you're using your device, it may autocorrect. You may not even notice it very much. But if you are using a word processing program like Word, it will just draw a squiggly red line. And my students just routinely ignore it, and they hand it in with misspellings.
You know what? As a matter of fact, I do know what you're talking about. I do have older students because my youngest students, of course, parents, they double check and I kind of press the parents. You need to look and check. Little kids aren't as skilled. But when they start hitting 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, they start writing their compositions on computer and they do turn in with weird spelling mistakes. Like, why didn't you catch this? And you're right. They probably just ignore it.
That's right. The computer did tell you, or the program, the application did tell you it was spelled wrong, but you ignored it. And this is something that I have discussed in great depth with a lot of people. And it's also kind of made fun of in this. There's a group on Facebook that's called Taiwan Chinglish.
Yeah.
And they give you lots of examples of really poorly written English. Sometimes it's just a misspelled word, but they put it on a sign.
Yeah.
Now, if you are making a sign and you know no English, you can check it so easily. Just go online and check it. Why did you not check it? There is a culture, excuse me now, I'm going to be kind of critical. There is a culture in Taiwan of not checking your work, even at the highest levels. Teachers often don't check their work. Publishers often don't check their work enough. I'm not saying everybody. Some do, and they're very careful. But sign makers do not check their work.
There is a very large bookstore in Taiwan. I won't name them, but I did notice that even in a place like this, they've spent millions and millions of dollars on interior decoration, building new buildings, and there are multiple English misspellings or grammatical errors. And I was just thinking, you could ask me, and I would have checked all these signs for a few thousand NT. You spend millions and just, hey, can you just look through this real quick? I don't know why these professional institutions don't do that. That's kind of tough on me. If you're like a local person making a small mistake on your menu, no problem. It's great that you even made the effort to create an English menu here. If you're producing expensive metallic signs or you're building a building from the ground up and you have misspellings and grammatical mistakes everywhere, I agree. That's kind of tough.
And it happens, like you say, with a lot of these very impressive, high prestige places. Even if you don't want to spend a few thousand NT to ask Chris to have a look at it, you can do it for free now. Just go to ChatGPT. It makes mistakes, but it will correct your spelling.
Yes, yes.
So please take this seriously. Double, triple, quadruple check your work before you hand it in. There are mistakes you can catch just by paying attention. Look at Word. Did they mark anything? You need to fix it.
You're spending a lot of money on these signs. They're not cheap. I know how much it costs to create a road sign, unless they're made in prison. And even then, it's expensive. Please fix them.
Yeah, and that happened with this really fancy, beautiful, impressive 3-volume set of a book in Chinese. They added an English title and made a mistake. Let's move on.
Daxi's early prosperity came from its prime spot on the Dahan River.
Now, we have a question here about the word the.
That's right. So, generally speaking, in English, before the name of a river and the name of an ocean, we like to use the word the. For example, the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Dahan River, the Danshui River. Almost always you're going to add the in front of it.
The Mississippi River cuts through the Twin Cities of Minnesota, where I come from.
Okay, and pay attention, just generally speaking, you always want to add the in front of them. It's unusual because mountains, you don't want to say the Yaming Mountain, the Mount Everest. That's incorrect. But rivers and oceans do need that. And you're like, well, hey, Chris, it's the name of a place. Names generally don't use the, right? That's true. Be careful. This is a weird one.
Okay, and I'm going to throw in something way over in Africa.
Okay.
There's a very small country in Africa. It looks like just kind of a strip moving inland from the ocean called the Gambia.
Oh, the Gambia. Okay.
Now, normally in Africa, you just use country names by themselves, like Angola or like South Africa or Namibia or whatever. But this one is called the Gambia. We don't call it Gambia. And the reason is because it's the name of a river.
The river, right.
So the country is named for the Gambia River, the Gambia.
Wow, that's a great one to add to my little arsenal because I do specifically teach what proper nouns will add the. And my list generally is the United States, the Philippines, and now I have to add the Gambia.
The Gambia.
That's right. All right, let's continue on to our next sentence. In earlier times, small sailboats regularly sailed the Dahan River towards Danshui, turning the river into a major trade route.
Now, you pronounced it the way we pronounce it in Mandarin. If it were Southern Min or the Taiwanese dialect, they'd say tam zui. And if you're just reading the romanization, I bet most people would say tam sui.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I live in Danshui. And
so please don't ask me to say tam sui.
Yes, I do have people like you see foreigners and tourists like from the West, and they'll talk about tam sui, and it always hits my ears like, oh no.
I live there, man. I live at Danshui.
All right, a trade route or a trade route is just generally speaking where people regularly go to do their business, to trade and to sell and to buy.
Now, I'm sorry to bring this in, but to do your business has another meaning in English. You have to be careful of it. It was perfectly correct the way Chris used it. However, because it has another meaning, my brain just kind of, came up with it.
I said it, and I was hoping you didn't catch that. When you do your business, that means go to the bathroom. Just be careful.
You can use that with pets when you don't want to use more offensive words. Yes. So, excuse me, he has to go do his business.
I was hoping you didn't catch that. Okay.
But it's a good one to know.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so sailboats are just boats that use wind to blow and move them around. In modern days, sailboats will often have engines also, but not back then. You use the wind, and fortunately, it can be pretty windy there. Let's go on to our next sentence. Plenty of merchants flocked to this area to engage in commerce.
Okay, commerce just means business, so they went there to trade.
So we have merchants, sellers, trading, and doing commerce. They're engaging in commerce.
Engaging in business. They're not all doing their business.
Their establishments boasted a distinctive look that combined European Baroque style with traditional Minnan lucky symbols like fish or bats.
I really like this sentence because it called up the images that I remember from that trip I made to the old street in Taoyuan. So they have very, very ornate buildings. If you look at, like, especially the second floor part or the doorways and things, there are so many elaborate decorations, but then you will see these very traditional Chinese symbols, like they say, like fish and bats. Those are good luck symbols. So bringing the two together is really striking. It's quite beautiful.
Yeah, Baroque is a style, is style in of itself. It's a very grand style, but I think European Baroque style is very clear because it tells me that this is that original European tradition that they're using. I wasn't quite sure what this meant until I saw the word European Baroque. And then I can imagine it. It's a very useful addition to say, like, okay, not just they have like local, indigenous, whatever. They also have this combined with it. It's a really good combination of words here.
The best description of it is ornate. O-R-N-A-T-E, O-R-N-A-T-E. That means lots of ornaments or decorations.
Some of these buildings still stand today as beautiful, tangible testaments to that rich past.
Wow, that's a really packed sentence. So to stand as a testament is bearing witness. We are proving that this really happened in our past. This tells you about the past.
That's right.
And tangible means you can actually touch it. It's concrete.
Be careful, testament, not testament. There's just be careful of that phrasing there. It's an A, not a short I sound.
Now, we don't pronounce it exactly like an A, like an A or an A. It becomes a reduced vowel, not E, it's So testaments. Okay, our third paragraph. Just as the Dahan River's waters fueled the economy, the local spring water is the secret to the deliciousness of Daxi's dried tofu. Now, they're kind of assuming that you know that probably the thing Daxi is most famous for is dried tofu.
It's news to me.
Yeah, so as soon as you say dashi, I think of dashi, dried tofu. So a lot of people, when they go there, they will buy packages of dried tofu. Okay, so I'm guessing that a lot of people maybe didn't know that if you haven't lived in Taiwan, but they're kind of assuming you know that, and it is delicious. It's fresh. But actually, if you buy fresh dried tofu in Taipei, it'll be fine. With dashi's exceptionally clean, soft, underground spring water, the delicacy turns out wonderfully tender with a satisfying springy texture, which makes it one of Taiwan's most beloved local snacks. The danger of a sentence like this is if you are reading it close to lunchtime, you've got saliva interfering with your pronunciation.
That's right. This is a definitely two-breath kind of sentence. Saying this in just one breath might be kind of tough.
It's not breath. For me, it's saliva.
You're just dripping everywhere.
Because I'm thinking of tofu.
So, exceptionally, it's a super clean, soft underground spring water. When I saw soft underground spring water, I thought this was the phrase I really wanted to focus on because spring water can also be very hard. And this means something very different. So, in where I'm from, and I presume Minnesota too, you have very hard spring water. If you don't know what this means, that means there are a lot of minerals in it. And if you live in a dry climate like Karen and I are originally from, and you have hard spring water, what that will do is create a lot of dried calcium in your shower. It's very hard to clean, and it will dry out your skin. And I suffer from really a lot of skin allergies. And in winter in the U.S., my skin was always cracking and bleeding, and I have the exact opposite problem here. The water is rather soft, so I don't dry out. My skin is too moisturized, and I start getting blisters from all the moisture.
I know somebody with allergies who has the same problem.
It's really tough. I will say, although I will take the Taiwan water over our hard spring water from the Northeast in the United States any day of the week. This is a much easier problem to deal with than the pain that I would experience in winter in the U.S.
Okay, and please note the word, satisfying, that means when you eat it, it satisfies both your hunger and also your desire for something that tastes good, that excites you a little bit. Springy is an important word because that's how you say Q in English.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so Q. The word is springy in English. That's a useful thing to know. So it's one of Taiwan's most beloved local snacks. I don't know, that's kind of subjective, but people certainly like it.
All right, our next paragraph. What many don't realize is that this area is Taiwan's largest Chinese leek farming region. And that's news to me also.
All right. And I usually call them Chinese chives. You can call them Chinese leeks. People probably won't know what you're referring to in either case, because unless you know that particular plant, you just don't know it. You have to look it up.
Yeah.
So Chinese leeks, but they're used in a lot of delicious dishes in Taiwan cooking, Chinese cooking.
The sandy, well-draining soil here is simply perfect for growing the plant.
Why is it well-draining? Because it's sandy. That means there's a lot of air spaces between the grains of sand, so the water goes through very easily.
Now, our next sentence has an interesting stress pattern. Please listen to this carefully. As September arrives, Dashi's fields are blanketed in white, blooming Chinese leek flowers, creating a stunning display known as September snow. It's just the pattern that you need to add all these adjectives. White, blooming Chinese leek flowers. I had to practice to make sure I could say it clearly with proper stress.
Me too.
And it's just a tricky sentence. Make sure you spend a little time. If you're going to practice saying this, listen back to the sentence. It's a tough one.
White, blooming Chinese leek flowers. Stunning display. September snow. Now, there's a reason for all of those stresses. We don't have time to go into it today. But, I have an article about it if you want to look it up online. All right, last paragraph. Whether stepping back in time in Daxi or exploring the lively streets of Zhongli or Taoyuan districts, visitors to Taoyuan embark on a journey that spans its past and present. So if you go to Taoyuan, you can kind of live in the present with the modern buildings. You can go revisit things from history on Daxi on the old street or whatever. So there's a lot of things for you to discover if you go to Taoyuan. That's basically what it's saying. Embark on just means to begin a trip or a journey. That's it. We're going to jump to the questions. Number 1. Which of the following comparisons between Taoyuan District and Zhongli District is true? Well, the answer is
C, Northern Taoyuan and Southern Taoyuan.
2 very distinct districts. Let's go on to number 2. According to how the phrase vice versa is used in the 3rd paragraph of the Day 1 passage, what does the following sentence mean? Kenneth trusts his wife completely and vice versa.
Remember, vice versa just means the opposite is also true. So our answer is D. Kenneth and his wife have faith in each other.
I really admire them.
Yeah.
I really do. That's not true of all couples. Number 3, which of the following best describes the existing business buildings in Daxi?
And the correct answer is letter D. They are a mix of European architecture and Minnan-style decorations.
And finally, 4, what can we learn about Daxi?
And the answer is B. Tourists can visit Daxi in September to enjoy the beauty of incredible flowers.
You might want to add that to your bucket list. That's all we have time for today. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.